Hey guys, it's Mad Morta, and it's time for part 5 of my Wii Portable Worklog. I've done quite a bit of work since the last one, but most of it's casework and it's all really little things, so here is. I'm not sure if I showed you guys it next to a Game Boy, but it's about the same size. And when you open it up, the bottom half is about the same size and thickness as a Game Boy Advance. So for reference, that's about how big it is. It's kind of hard to tell because it's a clamshell. It can be pretty hard to tell how big it is. This is a 5-inch screen, and I found a much higher resolution one than the one I was using originally, which was a good thing because I broke my driver board for the old one. These are some speakers that I pulled out of a portable DVD player. Those are great to take apart if you have some laying around. They're just little 8-ohm speakers, and they fit perfectly in the front right here, so they're going to be here. You can see that's where my heat sink is going to blow the air out the top. A, B, X, Y buttons are all 3DS buttons, and they are 3D printed into the case. I ditched the idea of Franken-casing and 3D printing together and just 3D printed the whole thing, the whole inside. So I believe I will be painting this, but if I can get a really good print, I might not. I'm personally opposed to clamshells that are painted on the inside because I've had bad experiences with painted things sticking to other painted things, especially when left touching for a long time. So I'd like to avoid that, but I think ignore the bottom bad quality. If I can get a really good print like this on all the pieces, I might do that, but they have some, I keep getting minor flaws in each print, so these are my 3DS sliders. I think I'd like to do joysticks in the future, but for this one, obviously, they do have to be sliders because it is a clamshell. Right now, it's not closing, and that's not because it doesn't all fit. It's because these things, I need to bring this little part up by like a fraction of a millimeter, and then it'll fit. What it's doing is just dragging on these shoulder things. So I have a couple minor touch-ups to do. I have to add screw posts for the GC+, and then I'm pretty much done with this half. The top half, I believe I'm done with as soon as I get these raised a little bit and this part lowered a little bit. These screws came from a Wii, and they are countersunk into it, so they don't stick out at all. Here on the bottom, everything's screwed in, so nothing's gonna fall out. This back half here is actually glued into the top half, and then this faceplate is screwed on here. The driver board goes back there, and the LCD on top. It all clicks together really nicely. Those obviously are where the infrared LEDs are going to go. Only one of them is drilled right now because I wanted to make sure I had it exactly where I wanted it, and I think that'd probably be okay since it's like this. On the back, I have my little PS2 rubber feet covering where the screws are, so it's kind of a double purpose thing. For one thing, this case, when I got it originally, was just a tiny bit warped, and it would kind of go like that, wobble when it was on a flat surface, so I put the feet on here to balance that out. I picked the rubber ones off of PS2s, which was a huge pain, and I Franken-cased the feet from PS2s into my case, if you guys remember, and it screws into 3D printed screw posts on the bottom of this piece right here, at least for these two. These two actually are screw posts attached to this piece here and this piece here. So the bottom half is 3 pieces. There's the right button half piece, the left button half piece, and then the main thing. These are just super glued in for now, plus support from the screw post below. I plan on adding a ledge around the whole thing to give extra support to this. Actually, maybe just on the sides because the batteries go here. But on at least these 2 corners here, I'd like to have a little bit of extra support. And I think in addition to the super glue holding this to here, I'm also going to put a little bit of epoxy on the corners just to be doubly sure. On the back here, I've done some more Franken casing. So from left to right, it goes L, start, USB. I may have switched it. Maybe portabilize me, flash drive, and then extra USB port. I can charge my phone off here or use it to have accessories like the Wii U controller adapter, which I did buy and test. So for any of you wondering, if you have a Wii U to GameCube controller adapter, the USB controller adapter, that can be used with a Wii using Nintendo. Not available in all of the areas of the Wii, but for the majority of the places you would use it, you can plug multiple controllers in. But the problem is that the Wii prioritizes the plugged-in controllers to the USB controllers over the USB controllers. So, for example, if you have something plugged into controller port 1 of your Wii, such as your GC Plus or your internalized GameCube controller, port 1 on the Wii U adapter won't work. So that's what this switch is for. That switches off my GC Plus. This is the headphone jack charging port. This is for outputting all of my other stuff, component, and switching to component, which also should turn off the screen, but I haven't really checked that. I may need a separate switch for that. And for controller outs. So this is what I plan to be using to output that. It has 9 pins. If you can see, there's 9 pins in there. And then there's the shielding. So if the shielding is separate from all of the pins, I should be able to get players 1 through 4 and also component output. And also, when you plug it in, it will switch automatically to component, which might make me not need a switch to turn off my screen. So, all of the above. And then you'd be able to use this playing on your TV using component. Unfortunately, it won't have composite out unless I do something with the... Yeah, I probably won't. I think I'm going to leave it as is. I don't really need composite out because I use component cables or bus, so for the Wii anyway. But it looks really good on this little screen, so I think if I were to put it into a big screen, I'd want the larger cable or the better cables. So then there's Z and R, so that's what those are. I believe the power switch is going to go right about here, a little bit further down than where the DS power switch should be, and actually I didn't think I had room there, but looking at it now, it looks like the only place I'm going to have room for it. I'm hoping to fit this switch in. It's a nice, sturdy, smooth feeling switch, but I might not be able to fit it. We're gonna see. I might need a slightly smaller one, but that's it. So I believe that's it for my update on this. I did put my heatsink on my Wii, but since I'm gonna try and finish this up in 2 weeks, I think I'll just put that in a different video because I don't have my fan hooked up to it yet. It does work, but I have to actually epoxy the fan in and do a little bit of rewiring, and that hasn't really changed much since my last video. So I have almost exactly 2 weeks to finish this up in time for the contest. So I'm really going to be making some big pushes to get this finished. So thank you guys for watching.